Welcome to New Vision's Echo Tip episode number 17. Hello, I'm David Ward, an assistive technology instructor here at New Vision, located in the Roanoke Valley of Southwest Virginia. Today's Amazon Echo Tip will be zeroing in on a very powerful feature for organizing and keeping your life together, and that is the calendar. How do you use the calendar? So, very unique feature that electronic calendars present. And the Amazon Echo can tie into some of the most popular ones that are available on the internet and even available on your smartphone or tablet. So first off, I want to mention some limitations of the calendar feature on the Amazon Echo. Now, in previous episodes, we have talked about a number of devices and features, or a catalog of features that are available to help you remember things. Okay, we've talked about alarms. We've talked about repeating alarms, which means it could go off every day or every Tuesday. We've talked about reminders, which are like alarms, but they can have a label saying, hey, silly, your bus is about to come. And we've also talked about repeating reminders. And lastly, we talked about timers, or even timers with labels. So they tell you, it's the pizza's in the oven. Now, all of those give you some sort of feedback. Right? They ding at you, or they tell you, hey, there's pizza in the oven, some sort of feedback like that. They can even ding on your smartphone if you have the A-Lady app installed and you're in the grocery store, maybe not at home to hear it go off, but it'll still appear on your phone. So all of those are very powerful, but they give you some sort of ding or notification. So the first limitation I want to mention of the calendar is that it will not do that. The calendar will never ding at you, at least not at its present configuration. That feature hasn't been enabled yet. So purely the calendar is there for basically informational purposes. You can say, hey, what's on my calendar for today? Or what's on my calendar for April the 1st? And you can get that kind of feedback right away. But you will not get ever a ding for a doctor's appointment. So what does that mean? Well, that means that if you're going to need to remind yourself of something, you need to either do one of two things. You need to have it part of your daily habits. Every day you get up, check your calendar, and it'll rattle off all the things you got to do today. Or alternatively, if you're like me, I really need a ding or a reminder, set a separate alarm or reminder that corresponds with your calendar, which, as you can imagine, that might be good anyway. Say you had a doctor's appointment for 10 a.m. on a Monday morning. Well, you really need to start getting things together and ready to leave the house at maybe 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. So you could set a reminder for earlier that morning that, hey, silly, you got to get in the car here soon. And so that might be useful. And admittedly, you don't want everything on your calendar dinging at you anyway. So this kind of gives you the versatility of both, if you kind of mix and match so that you remind yourself of things. The other limitation I want to mention, or it's not so much a limitation, it's just the way the equipment works, is the Echo out of the box will not work with a calendar. It actually interfaces with third-party services or providers that naturally, or part of their services, they just give you a calendar. So the first calendar that the Amazon Echo worked with was Google products or a Gmail account. So if you have a Gmail or G Suite account, then you have a calendar. It's just built in. It's the Google Calendar. In fact, you can go to calendar.google.com if you're logged in and see your calendar. Additionally, if you had an Android phone, you likely have basically a Google account, so you could link it to that account. And if you had an Apple phone, they have Apple Calendar, and there's even a Microsoft Calendar linked with Microsoft Outlook, which used to have been known as Hotmail, or different phrases Microsoft used as well. So all those are third-party accounts that your Echo can link to. Now, first off, let's give this a try. Let's do a demonstration. Now, we've reached that moment where you need to press the button on your Amazon Echo, the microphone button. So you need to press that. It's got a little picture of a microphone and a slash through it. And when you press it, you're going to get a sound like this. Yep, and that means she's no longer listening. And also, on your traditional Echoes or Echo Dots, you'll get a red ring around the top, and that's a visual indicator that her ears are off and she's not listening, which in our case is good, because when I'm demonstrating this, I want my Echo in the studio to be listening and not necessarily your Echo at home to be listening, because that could booger up you listening to the rest of the tutorial. All right, so I'm going to turn her ears back on my Echo here in the studio, but you want to leave yours off. All right, so make sure you press that button. Okay, now we're ready to go. So let's give this calendar a try. Alexa, create an appointment.
Okay, what day and time?
Noon today.
And what's the name of the event?
Lunch.
I'll schedule lunch today at 12 p.m., okay?
Okay.
Okay, I've added that.
All right. So, and I can always check my calendar as well, and I'm kind of scared. I don't know exactly what it'll say on my calendar. Alexa, what's on my calendar?
Here are the next 4 events. Andy Volunteer is in progress and lasts all day. 82.0 WVTF recording is also in progress and ends at 11:30 a.m. Today, at 12 p.m. there's lunch, and at 2
Alexa,
p.m.
stop.
it's 8.
So there we go. We got a whole list of my things. Even said Andy the volunteer who drove me to the studios was going to be here today. So, and he is. He's sitting here in the studio. All right. So that's pretty cool. And it listed that new one, which I added, which was lunch. Now, you might find that often when you query the calendar, it will default to that. It'll list like 4 or 5 items in succession. You could be explicit and ask for the afternoon or for the morning. Well, let's see if I can give you an example of that. Alexa, what's on my calendar for Wednesday morning?
On Wednesday, February 21st, there are 2 events in the morning. There's Andy Volunteer, which lasts all day, and at 9:30 a.m. there's 82.0 WVTF recording.
Okay, all right. So it also mentions we'll be doing some recording in the studio on Wednesday as well. So very cool. That's how you query the calendar and also how you add appointments. Now, I obviously could have strung it all together and probably said just add appointment. But I also want to show you how to delete an appointment. Alexa, delete appointment.
Which event would you like to delete?
Noon, 12.
Delete lunch at 12 p.m., right?
Right.
I've deleted that.
All right, so it's that easy to add or delete, and the delete function actually has only been added in the last couple of months. You could add things, but you couldn't delete them. You had to go somewhere else to do that. All right, so very powerful feature. Now, as I mentioned, this connects with third-party services, and so I'm going to shut the ears off of my Echo so I can describe this better. So if you had the Alexa app installed on your phone or tablet, you would have access to a lot of this information as well. But like I said, it's third-party services. So let me give you an example. If you have an Android phone and you already have a Google account and you connect it to this, your calendar will be synchronized across both units. If in your house and you add an appointment, today at noon, then you could look at your phone and it would show up right on your phone, which is very powerful. If you're out and about, you can always look at your phone to get your appointments as well. And if you're like me, I use an iPhone with Siri, which is a voice command, virtual assistant. I can verbally query my calendar just like my Echo. I can say, what's on my calendar? I can add an appointment. I can delete an appointment. And then when I come back home and ask my Echo, it has the exact same calendar information. So that's very, very useful as well. It's a neat way to have all your information synchronized. Now, if you need to do some fancy stuff with your calendar, you can always, for example, if it's a Google Calendar, as I said earlier, go to calendar.google.com and you can add, using a computer or tablet, things to your calendar in a very particular way as well. Like the third Tuesday of every month, I have, whatever, bingo in the community room or something like that. You could always do that as well. All right, so that'll bring a close our calendar discussion here. There's a lot more information here available, but you'll find these features in your settings under your Alexa app and under calendar there. So, and the calendar you have it linked to. All right, well, next time we're going to be talking about, in our Echo Tips, wake words. What are wake words, or sometimes called trigger words? We're going to be talking about those and how to configure that. So once again, it's time to turn your microphone mic button back on your Echo so she'll respond to you once again. And I'm David Ward, signing off for New Vision. We thank you for listening. This episode is brought to you by New Vision in connection with a grant from the Foundation for the Roanoke Valley and with the kind use of WVTF Studios. For the newest information and content about what New Vision is doing, please see the website newvision, ROA, the first three letters of Roanoke, .org. That's .org. New Vision is a nonprofit that provides information services and assistive technology training to the visually impaired living in Southwest Virginia. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision.